What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about a movie that I really wanted to check out when it was in the theater, but I didn't get an opportunity to. Time escaped me and I didn't get the chance to watch this. And the reason I wanted to check this movie out is because I am a huge fan of Ilana Glazer. I loved Broad City. I thought it was just absolutely hilarious. Watched every season and really appreciated it. I actually saw Ilana Glazer do stand up last year, and it was just amazing. Her comedic timing and delivery is always incredible. I just really like her as a human being, and I just think that she's really amazing. Even in movies that aren't as good, she always manages to deliver fantastic performances. And this movie was produced by Neon, who I feel like has been killing it lately. They have put out so many amazing films. They're just a really solid production company, and if you haven't seen it yet, shameless plug for my new series, the Neon Spotlight, where I'm going to watch every film that Neon has produced. Really going to have fun with that. But I was looking forward to watching this movie, and the film I'm going to be discussing with you today is Babes. Babes is directed by Pamela Adlon. After getting pregnant from a one-night stand, a single woman leans on her married best friend and mother of two to guide her through gestation and beyond. So I was really excited to watch this movie because I'm a huge fan of Ilana Glazer, and I didn't really enjoy this movie. I don't think that it's terrible by any means. It's just one of those, like, it has a couple of nice moments, and there are some things about it I can appreciate, but overall I found most of it to be really lackluster, and a lot of the comedic timing in it is really poor, which surprises me because I feel like Ilana Glazer's comedy in Broad City is so sharp and quick and witty. And in this movie, it just feels, especially from like the first 5 minutes, it just feels like everyone is trying so incredibly hard to land a joke that it becomes much more forced than natural, like Broad City, where the humor just kind of is electric. And in a lot of the comedy that Ilana Glazer has done previously. And I'll talk about it when I break the movie down as a whole. Beginning of the film, we are introduced to Eden, played by Ilana Glazer, Dawn, played by Michelle Buteau, and they are best friends. And we see Dawn is pregnant, and they're hanging out on Thanksgiving, and they go to the movies together because it is a tradition. While they are at the movies, her water breaks and they have to rush her to the hospital. After the crazy series of events, Eden goes and buys Dawn sushi. When her husband shows up, she gets back there asleep. The person at the hospital says there's nowhere to store this incredibly expensive sushi. So Eden decides, all right, I'll just take it home. She gets on the subway and she meets Claude, and the two of them have this conversation together, and they end up going back to her place. They eat sushi together. They spend a lot of time together and really click in a way that feels unique, and like they pair well together, and they end up having sex, and he leaves the next morning. And a little while later, Eden starts to feel weird, and she starts to feel like she's pregnant. And so she takes multiple pregnancy tests and finds out that she indeed is pregnant. And when she tries to track down Claude so that she can let him know, she finds out that something has happened to him, and she is distraught by it, and she doesn't really know how to approach becoming a mother, but she decides that she wants to do it anyway. And so the entirety of the film is Eden decides to become a mother, but she's not close to her family. The only person she really has is Dawn. And so the movie explores the relationship between these two characters and how they fall on, and how Eden falls on Dawn for support while she slowly moves towards motherhood. So as I said, I was not a huge fan of this movie. I didn't enjoy it nearly as much as I thought that I would, but I will say for the positives, Ilana Glazer and Michelle Buteau have great chemistry. They work really well together. They have a lot of moments that I really enjoyed. They're clearly both talented actors. They are both great comedic actors, and I think that they have moments that they play off each other really well. And there were moments that I thought were really charming. There were also a lot of very dramatic moments in this movie, and I think that there's times that those emotional beats hit harder than others. And it's obviously grappling with a lot of different themes in this movie, and there are times that it works better than others. But that's about it for me. Honestly, I feel like the comedy in this movie really falls flat. There are a lot of sequences where, like, they'll deliver a one-liner and then they'll just keep beating it over the head over and over again to try to just continue to elicit a response from you as a viewer. And it just gets tedious after a while. It doesn't feel natural. It feels like, hey, we've written a bit and we want the bit to keep going, but it's not seamless enough. It doesn't feel like it flows naturally. And comedy is all about timing, and everything about comedy is how you portray it. Like if you bring the audience into a joke, you want to be able to keep it fresh and exciting, not just beat it over the head over and over again. And I feel like so much of the humor in this movie was simply that, was just beating something over the head over and over again. Which for these two actresses who I know are incredibly talented and wonderful comedians, it was just really kind of a surprise to me that it was that the comedy didn't work super well. The pacing in this movie is awful. There are so many sequences that I feel like could have been completely trimmed out and thrown away to make a more effective and streamlined movie. I feel like anytime it went to a dramatic moment, it would then hit back to like comedic beats for so long that any of the drama that would come up felt incredibly forced, that it just needed to be there to try to ground the movie because the beginning tries to present it as something that's going to be very dramatic. And I think that clash of tone works in some films better than others, but it didn't work for me in this movie. And I think that this movie tries to do way, way too much. I think like this whole idea of motherhood that's put forth, that's an interesting topic in and of itself, but then you try to add in the layer of friendship there, grieving a loss of someone that you barely know, separation between a child and a parent. There's all of these different things that are introduced throughout the film, and I just don't think they seamlessly interconnect in a way that makes any of them satisfying. And especially in the third act, when they get to the point where they're trying to tie the movie up with a bow, it just all feels too easy. Like the ending just felt like it felt like it got to the finish line, and it felt so incredibly unsatisfying, which is disappointing because, as I said, there's a lot of talent involved in this movie, a lot of really incredible talent involved. But honestly, and I know this might be oversimplifying it, but it felt like a tamed down, less entertaining version of a Broad City episode. Like if you took a Broad City episode and tried to extend it into a full-length feature film, but then said, we're going to really restrict and tone back the comedy and not even make it as extreme as a television show. And I feel like maybe going further with the comedy and making it more ridiculous and more overt would have made the film more entertaining. And unfortunately, I forgot a lot about this movie an hour after I watched it. It was so run of the mill and formulaic, and I didn't really get anything out of it. And I know there's been some people that have been enjoying it. And like, if this is a type of movie that you enjoy and you're fine with just the simplicity of it, there's not a whole lot more going on, then you'll probably enjoy it. But for me, it was just relatively bland, and I expected a lot more with the talent involved. So have you seen Babes? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. I was not a fan of this movie. It's not terrible by any means, but it's also not anything special. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.